Good evening. I would like to call the July 8th meeting of the Fargo Board of Education to order. This is our annual reorganization of the board. Please stand as you are able and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As it is our annual reorganization meeting, I will now recite our land acknowledgement statement. Fargo Public Schools respectfully acknowledges that we gather on the lands of the Ocheti Shakawee, who are the Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota people, and the Anishinaabe people of this area. I will now entertain a motion for approval of our agenda. Robin?
I will move approval of the agenda as presented with the human capital addendum.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Robin and a second from Nikki. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposition, same sign. Okay, that motion passes 9-0. At this point in time, we move next to our recognition of the audience, and we do not have any speakers signed up this evening. So we will now move to item 6, which is reorganization of the Fargo Board of Education, and I will turn it over to Dr. Steiner.
All right, thank you, Katie. To start off with, I would like Mr. Clark to provide us a report from the canvassing committee for recommendations for president and vice president.
Absolutely. So per board policy, the canvassing committee contacted each member of the board to determine their willingness to serve in the role of president or vice president for the upcoming school year. The following information has been forwarded to the board secretary for creation of a ballot, which we should all have at our stations here, for the election of these board officers for our annual reorganization. The following member is willing to serve in the position of president. That is our current president, Katie Christensen Manier. And the following members are willing to serve in the position of vice president. That is Yamal Day, Robin Nelson, and Ali Ollenberger. Per our GP2E policy, an election of each position will occur by signed paper ballot.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clark. So we will first act on the president. Are there any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Mrs. Nelson.
Dr. Steiner, I would like to make a motion to unanimously support Katie Christensen Manier for the president position tonight, which would be for the upcoming school year, 2025-2026.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second for a unanimous selection of Katie Christensen Manier as president for the 2025-26 school year. Can we roll call vote for that?
Correct. Robin Nelson,
Enthusiastically, yes.
Ollenberger,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Gullickson,
Yes.
Jason Nelson,
Yes.
Kristen Nelson,
Yes.
Christensen Meinier.
Yes.
All right. Congratulations to Katie, and we'll turn it back over to you to lead the meeting as the president.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. So next, we're moving on to the vice president ballot. And Namal, did you want to share something before we do this?
Yes, I would like to remove my name from the vice presidency.
Okay. And then do we have any motions from the floor to add anyone to this ballot? I'll ask again, any motions from the floor? And for a third time, any motions from the floor? Okay, so we have two candidates on the ballot now. We have Robin Nelson and Ali Ollenberger. So please make your selection. Make sure you sign your name, and then I believe Anne Marie and Tara Anne Marie will pick up the ballots. And so our board has selected Robin Nelson to serve as vice president again. Do we need a motion and a roll call vote for that then too? No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for everyone who put their names on the ballot, and congratulations, Robin, to serve, and thank you for serving in this position again.
And my personal thanks to Ally for putting her name in. Thank you.
All right. We do not have an FEA report, so I will turn to Dr. Steiner for your first admin report.
All right. First of all, just want to sincerely thank the board for providing me this opportunity to be part of this wonderful district. I want to thank our cabinet members for being so welcoming, being willing to answer a lot of questions, and being able to give me a hard time and joke with me right off from the start. Thank you to the board for the 8 days that was acted on in May. I couldn't even imagine what it would have been like trying to come in on July 1st. I've met with so many different people in so many groups and have a really good feel for what the district is great at and where we can go in the future. So I know some of you attended some sessions when you were at the national convention about how important that is, and I will tell you extremely. So thank you so much for being willing to spend a little money but invest in some time for me. A couple things. Met with all the board members over the last few months and a few of you a couple times. In my weekly memo, I'll share themes from those meetings. And then I'm doing the same thing I'm just about through all the principals and directors. We'll start on APs soon after that, along with community members and more teachers. But I'll provide themes for the board in that memo for all of those, just so you can understand what we were talking about and the things that really came out and were clear throughout all those conversations. Meeting next week at FEA, we're going to start working on the 6-period prep, the plan for that to make sure we have a really solid plan for the following school year and can make sure that time is utilized really well and really benefits kids and gives joy to educators as well. That's really all I have for right now. So thank you.
Okay, that sounds great. We are now moving to our consent agenda, and I will look for a motion. Nikki?
I move that we accept the consent agenda with the HR addendum.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Nikki and a second from Namal. Any discussion? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposition, same sign? All right, and that moves us down to our business section. And our first memo, Memo 10, the long-range facility plan recommendation, comes to us from the Planning Committee. And so I will turn to Chair Greg Clark to introduce this to us.
Yeah, thank you. This memo is, it's 2 years in the making, if you guys can believe that. The first year was spent really developing the long-range facilities plan. And this work involved not just the board, but really the entire community through a series of surveys, the formation of a steering committee, and quite a few public meetings. And then the last year, once we had our long-range facilities plan, was really spent deciding how do we best implement that plan. And I know while a lot of us would really like the ability to kind of snap our fingers and implement the plan in its entirety, we're continuing our commitment to community feedback because the voters and the legislature really made it clear that now isn't really the time to go around really raising property taxes. And our own survey that we completed of the community really confirmed that Fargo residents aren't quite at the level of support needed for a successful bond referendum that would fund the entire long-range plan. So the memo in front of you, I believe, is responsible and responsive government. Our patrons are telling us that we should really spend within our existing means. And the motion I'm about to make, I think, strikes this balance because it's faithful to the long-range facilities plan, but only to the extent that our current finances allow. And I think it's worth mentioning that we're not charting new territory here. The district has built several new schools recently, Ed Clap, Eagles Explorer Academy, through the judicious issuance of bonds via our building fund. And with that, I'd like to move that we approve the Planning Committee's recommendation to proceed with preliminary design and planning for a new elementary school at the Horace Mann site, including authorization to issue a request for qualifications for professional services, direct administration to develop a transition plan, and prepare a resolution to issue bonds.
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have a motion from Greg and a second from Kristen. Was that you? Okay, thank you. Any discussion or questions? Robin?
Find my notes here. I personally attended Horace Mann from kindergarten through 6th grade. And this is a very emotional conversation for me. I visited the school today and also took a drive through the neighborhood in which I grew up. And it brought back so many memories, and I'll admit it left me a bit teary-eyed with nostalgia. While this is an incredibly emotional decision for me and the neighborhood, I do believe it is the right one for our students, our educators, and our community. So I will be supporting the motion at tonight's board meeting.
Jason?
Thanks, Robin. I also support this motion. I think it's important to look at what we're doing here is we're consolidating 3 schools into one, which will make it much more efficient for our teachers, for our learners, and for our community. I know we saw numbers early on possible yearly savings. I think that was in the neighborhood of $750,000 just by consolidation and not having to do the current upkeep and some of that stuff associated with it. So I think this is the right move, and I support it.
Allie?
I too will be supporting this motion. One of the things that I heard loud and clear when I was out on the campaign trail was really around the security of our buildings. Horace Mann is one of those buildings that does not have the necessary secure accesses today. By moving forward with this project, we bring this school up to date with the rest in our portfolio here at Fargo Public Schools. And so, making good on campaign promises, if you will, but definitely in support of this motion. Thank you to the Planning Committee for the work done on this too.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments from the board? Kristen?
I think it goes back to, when we started with the steering committee, right, James? That seems like forever ago. Taking part in that process really helped me understand, what the needs are of the district. And I definitely think that this is the right move, but it's also, I think, gonna really set kind of the future forward for what we will be able to do throughout the district and show our like you said, our the folks that reside within the district how these buildings should, are going to be able to serve our kids. And I think that's really exciting. And I think it'll bring more people along in the conversation.
Thank you. Any other, Nikki?
I'd like to just make a quick comment too, that I'm also in support of this motion because I think it brings great support to our kids and to our staff. I think this will improve educational outcomes, the flow of a new building. We've seen the data, how that impacts grading and scoring. And I think it will be wonderful for our teachers to be able to reach out to like teachers instead of have the separation at the smaller schools. I'm happy with this. And I also think it's a good step just to kind of move a little slower because we had heard that not everything all at once. And so I support it.
Thank you. Melissa?
Yeah, just briefly echoing off of Nikki's comments. I was, I think, most moved when we were, learning about all of this from Missy's comments about how valuable it is to have grade level collaboration. And I'm really excited that this is something that we're going to be able to start doing. So.
Okay, any other questions? And Namal?
I'm just gonna echo what everybody's saying. Personally for me, I did a site visit over there. I see how the building looked like and so forth. So this is a good move, and I believe that I will support this.
Okay, thank you. Greg?
Yeah, one other thing I want to make sure gets noted is that the motion on the table right now and actions we take tonight aren't determining the fate of the Roosevelt site and the Madison site. We know that if those aren't elementary schools, that is important. That leaves a hole for the community. And if nothing else, tonight, really the work begins in earnest for us to engage the community for what goes there, because we're not just abandoning those sites. We know they're important, and we know we still have a role to play in ensuring the communities around those sites have something that adds value to those neighborhoods.
Thank you for bringing that clarification. I appreciate it. Robin?
Nikki, as the CEA chair, will you share anything about some of those community revitalization efforts that you have been working on with Confluence? If you don't mind, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's great. It's been a little while, it's been a hot minute, but we have reached out, we have done research, we have engaged community members to visualize, if you will, or imagine what could possibly be in those spaces. And we've come up with different things for different spaces. It could be repurposing could be childcare, it could be businesses that would serve in a small community like that, so they had access perhaps to a smaller grocery store or different things like that. We worked with Folkways here within Fargo, people who grew up in Fargo, who know the neighborhoods in Fargo. We did not bring a contractor from somewhere else. So I think that's critical. And we'll be revisiting that data and publicizing even more of that. There is quite a bit of it from before, but we were on hold while we decided the best way to move forward. So if anybody has questions, that data is available.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Anne Marie, I think we're ready for a roll call.
Olenberger,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Gullickson,
Yes.
Jason Nelson,
Yes.
Kristen Nelson,
Yes.
Robin Nelson,
Yes.
Olenberger, or excuse me, Christensen Meinier.
Yes. Motion passes 9-0. It's almost 10-0 if I only got to vote twice. My little tallies. Okay. All right, thank you very much. So that motion passes 9-0. And we are now moving on to our building authority membership, which is memo number 6. And who is bringing this one to us? Sorry, I can look it up. I closed my. Is it?
It's from Corey and Jackie.
Okay, thank you.
I sure can. Sorry.
Sorry.
So tonight we need to elect the membership for the Building Authority, which has historically comprised the board as well as the superintendent and the business manager. So we would, I guess, proceed with a motion for that recommendation.
Robin?
I move that 9 to 11 names be approved for membership of the Fargo School District Building Authority.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Robin and a second from Namal. Any discussion? Okay, Anne Marie, do you want to call the roll?
Do we want to clarify which names we're forwarding at all?
Would that take place at the meeting
Well,
after the
we'll have
meeting,
to
or do we have
accept those
to?
as well.
Sure.
Oh, so do you want those added to the motion? Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'll take a stab at it. I'll move that,
Do you want that?
yeah.
Okay.
I would move that
So you should say all board members.
all board members plus Jackie Gap, Dr. Corey Steiner, and that's it, would be, make up the body of the Fargo School District Building Authority. Thank you for the assistance.
Sure. So now we need another second.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Robin and a second from Greg. Any discussion? Okay, now can we do the roll call?
Perfect.
Thanks.
Berglund,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Gullickson,
Yes.
Jason Nelson,
Yes.
Kristen Nelson,
Yes.
Robin Nelson,
Yes.
Holenberger,
Yes.
Christensen Minier.
Yes, motion passes 9-0. And I believe we will be using this executive session, is that correct? Okay, so I think we need a motion to go into the executive session.
I move that we go to executive session for the purpose of negotiation strategy as authorized under NDCC 44-04-19.1.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Ally and a second from Robin. Any discussion? Anne Marie, can you call the roll?
Clark,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Gullickson,
Yes.
Jason Nelson,
Yes.
Kristen Nelson,
Yes.
Robin Nelson,
Yes.
Holenberger,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Christensen Minier.
Yes. So we're going to be moving into executive session, which is a closed meeting. So for anyone who's not affiliated with the district or serving on the board, I'm going to ask that you please step out of the room. Back in our regular meeting. We are now at section 10, board reports, and we're going to start with our committee liaison and correspondence reports, and I am going to start with Kristen Nelson tonight.
I will be easy, nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. Melissa?
Mine's very brief. We have signed all of the tentative agreements for the contract. The next step is the FEA does their ratification process, and they're hoping to have that done. It's a little bit longer during the summer, Laura said, but they're shooting for the 18th, and so just kind of be on the lookout if we need to have a special meeting to sign that.
Yes, Anne Marie?
Would you want me to put out a doodle poll to figure out maybe some tentative dates that we could hold
Thank
for
you.
potential?
I
That would
think
be a great
that's a
special
wonderful
meeting.
idea.
Yes, please.
Okay, I can get that out to you guys in the next couple days.
Okay, thanks. Was that all, Melissa?
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Greg?
The only thing I have is that I met with Dr. Steiner for lunch on July 3rd.
Okay, thank you. Robin?
Other than regular committee attendance, nothing to report, but I do have stuff ready to go for the interim legislative session for whomever is on the next committee. It will be a very important one, and one of the big things that we need to follow closely is the study on 1176 and be deeply involved in that conversation, so, which is the property tax bill.
Yeah, kind of an important one, huh? Okay, thank you. Nikki?
Thank you. Nothing right at the moment. We'll wait until we get reorganized here and we'll be off and running.
Sounds good. Namal?
Thank you.
Oh, it's fun. Nothing to report.
Thank you. Jason?
Nothing to report.
Nothing
Ally?
to report.
All right, thank you. So I'll share tonight. I did have my first one-on-one with Dr. Steiner since he's taken on the role of our superintendent. And other than that, just be on the lookout for an email from Anne Marie because we are reorganizing. We have the potential to kind of move around our committees, reform our committees. So be on the lookout for that where you'll get to list kind of your preferred committees, no guarantees, but then also those liaison assignments that we have taken on. And I don't think we need a possible executive session for negotiations.
No, we do not.
So with that, it is 6:23 p.m. Our next regular meeting is August 12th. So this meeting is adjourned at 6:23 p.m. However, don't go anywhere because we have our annual meeting of the Fargo Schools Building Authority.